This one is probably gonna be pretty brief. There's really nothing redeeming about this spell to talk about. It's just all risk and no reward. You're committed into an incredibly long animation. It's very inaccurate, it's very telegraphed, and the reward for landing it is like 1200 damage. And I'm not slouching on the damage either. I've got like 80 faith with an Erd Tree seal, and I'm consistently hitting like 700 damage with the explosion part. There's just nothing going for it. There is a little bit more to know mechanically about this spell and just why it doesn't function, but at the end of the day, I think the core problem can really be traced back to doing zero fucking damage. So just keep that in mind while we go through how exactly this spell works and what it does. Scarlet Aeonia is effectively a three-part spell. You've got the initial jump up into the air and the downward slam. That has its own hitbox on it. Then you have the explosion, which you probably already know about, that's kind of the main event. And then you have this lingering rock cloud after the fact. And none of these three parts really... they don't really achieve much. The first part is the only part that I can really commend, because at least it has poise on it, and at least it combos into the explosion, so if you slam directly into someone, they're going to also get hit with the explosion, and maybe take 1000 damage. The explosion does not lead into the rock cloud at all, because it deals a hard knockdown, it gives them iframes, it blows them away, they can just roll out of the rock cloud. So Scarlet Aeonia, when successfully landed, doesn't actually inflict Scarlet Rot. You have to either deliberately miss in order to get Scarlet Rot, or you have to just spam it at like a doorway or a hallway or something and just hope that your opponent walks into the cloud. The cloud does do a lot of rot, but like I said, it's just so easy to avoid. The only time you really catch someone is if they're running back in to punish you for doing this stupid spell, and they miscalculate how long the cloud will linger for, because it actually lingers for a fair while even as the particles are fading out. Okay, so we've established that we can't just do the rock cloud and rely on that. We can't just land the explosion raw because it's so slow and telegraphed. So the question becomes, how do we land that first part of the spell? How do we hit people with the slam so that they're stuck into place to get hit by the explosion, and we'll just forget about the rock cloud for now? I don't know how you're meant to land this slam. I tried a couple different sources of hard knockdown, thinking that I could just flatten someone's ass on the floor and then roll catch them. Maybe. There's an okay amount of tracking on the slam, so maybe if they rolled bad, it would catch them. The timing just doesn't work. The leap is so incredibly slow that no hard knockdown that I could find actually led into it. I tried a couple of different things. I tried the Crucible Horn, I tried Marika's Hammer at one point, just anything that could have a nice long stun animation and not a terrible amount of end lag so that I could chain it into Scarlet Aeonia. None of it really worked. So, okay, well, maybe we can use this as some sort of ambush tool. Maybe we could land on people from above. Oh, you can't do that. Scarlet Aeonia cancels itself if you're not on the ground by the time the slam is finished. So you will just do nothing. You cannot use it from above someone and get the drop on them. And you can't really chameleon yourself or go around a corner with it because it's got a noise on the startup, and it's just so slow and glowy and bright that no one could ever miss it. It's... And so then I started going into the really esoteric. I thought to myself, okay, well, This has a little more control in it than a jump, and travels roughly the same distance. So maybe I can use this for parkour to get around the map, and then I found out that because it's an attack it cancels itself from going over any ledges. So you can't even use it to like navigate around Farum Azula. Some of the gaps that are difficult to jump, some of them that are like impassable. You can't go around those with Scarlet Aeonia. It doesn't even have use as a movement tool. And I seriously find it difficult to know what they were doing with this spell. Even if you do actually land it, like I've said earlier, it knocks them right on their arse so they get iframes to protect them from the rot, and they actually get up from the ground faster than you get out of the spell. So what happens is you hit someone with this and then they just roll back and heal, and there's literally nothing you can do about that because you are still stuck kneeling on the ground doing your superhero landing. It's infuriating. It can't get anything done. And that's really where my gripe is. I wish they would buff the fuck out of the damage, firstly. It's a crime that this does less damage than a couple of catch flames, but secondly, they really need to work on the frame data for this spell, because as it currently stands, it's just too slow. There's not even like a setup you can do with something like Meteorite of Estelle, because it's not like the spell lasts a while either. You know, it's an explosion and then a brief cloud and then it's done. You can't channel it somewhere strategic. It's just awful. I'm more than happy to be proven wrong if anyone in the comments has a setup for this spell that genuinely works. I mean, like, genuinely works outside of getting a cool clip every hour of gameplay or something. Please let me know. I want to be wrong. I want there to be something to work with here, but there's just nothing.